So here's a puzzle for you. How can two filmmakers with completely opposite styles end up saying almost the exact same thing? That's what we're digging into today, looking at two giants of documentary, Asif Kapadia and Kim Longinotto. Their methods are like night and day, but trust me, what they have in common is going to surprise you.
And let's just kick things off with this bombshell from Asif Kapadia himself. He says there is a misconception that somehow documentaries are real. Everything is fake, everything is constructed. Whoa, that's a pretty intense statement, right? And it's the key to unlocking this whole analysis.
All right, here's our game plan. We'll start by meeting our two directors, then we'll dive into their radically different styles. After that, and this is the really interesting part, we'll uncover the shared feminist message in their work. Then we'll get into the nuts and bolts of how they build their arguments before we tackle that huge question, what is documentary truth anyway?
Okay, first things first, let's meet our filmmakers. In one corner, you've got Asif Kapadia. He's the master of the archive, the guy behind those huge event-style documentaries on people like Senna and Amy Winehouse. And in the other corner, Kim Longinotto, a pioneering feminist filmmaker known for getting incredibly close to her subjects, capturing these raw, powerful portraits of women fighting back.
For this explainer, we're really going to zone in on Kapadia's Oscar-winning film, Amy. It's a masterpiece of his style, and it gives us the perfect lens to compare his whole approach to filmmaking with Longinotto's.
So how do they actually make their films? This is where their paths really diverge. It's a total clash of styles. We're putting Kapadia's true fiction approach head-to-head with Longinotto's observational cinema.
And wow, when you put them side by side like this, the difference is just staggering. Kapadia works like a detective, sifting through hours of footage that already exists, and he builds his story entirely in the editing room. He's totally invisible. Longinotto, on the other hand, is right there in the room. She's capturing everything new, trying to be a silent witness to life as it happens. Her power is in her presence, not post-production.
So what on earth is true fiction? Well, it's Kapadia's own term for what he does. He takes real pieces of life, home videos, interviews, photos, and he edits them together with the tension and the emotional arc of a Hollywood movie. He's not just showing you things that happened, he's crafting a story. Now, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have Longinotto. She works in what's known as the observational mode. The whole idea is to interfere as little as possible. Think long takes, very little editing. She wants to be a fly on the wall, or as she puts it, a silent witness, letting reality just unfold in front of her camera.
Okay, so we've got one director who constructs everything and another who just observes. Their film should feel completely different, right? Well, this is where it gets wild, because despite these massive differences in technique, both Kapadia and Longinotto end up arriving at an incredibly similar message.
And this is it. This is the common ground. It doesn't matter if you're building a narrative from archives or patiently watching life happen. Both of these filmmakers use their craft to take on patriarchal power structures and to show us, in their own powerful ways, how women are oppressed.
So what are these institutions we're talking about? Well, in Amy, you see the predatory male-dominated music industry and the absolute toxicity of the tabloid press. In Longinotto's films, you see legal systems, marriage and family structures that are designed to hold women back. And in the work of both, you see these patterns of exploitation from fathers and husbands.
Look at Amy. Kapadia doesn't just show you footage. Through his incredibly precise editing, he builds an undeniable case. The men in Amy Winehouse's life, especially her husband and father, are framed as these toxic, parasitic figures who feed off her talent and ultimately play a huge role in her tragedy.
Now, Longinotto, she gets to a similar point, but in a completely different way. Take her film Divorce Iranian Style. She just puts her camera inside an Iranian divorce court and holds it on the women arguing their cases. She doesn't have to build a narrative in the edit. The story explodes right off the screen from the raw courage of these women fighting a system that's stacked against them.
So we know that Kapadia builds these powerful arguments, but let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does he actually do it? How does he manufacture these true fictions to get such a powerful emotional reaction from us? It all happens in the edit.
One of his key tools has this perfectly creepy name, Frankenbiting. It's where an editor takes a word from here, a phrase from there, all from the same interview, and stitches them together to create a brand new sentence. It can be used to make a point clearer, or it can be used to create an emphasis that just wasn't there to begin with. It's a seriously powerful way to shape a story. And then there's a technique you have absolutely seen a million times, even if you didn't know its name, the Ken Burns effect. It's that slow zoom or pan across a still photograph. It sounds simple, but it is an incredibly powerful way to breathe life into a static image, to tell you where to look, and to create a huge emotional punch.
You see it constantly in Amy. Kapadia will take a photo of her and he'll slowly push in on her eyes, or a smile. It creates this feeling of intimacy, of sadness. It's a way of cutting through the noise of the paparazzi shots and saying, look, this was the real person. This is the human being we all lost. It's incredibly effective. And all of this brings us to the biggest question of them all. After looking at these two filmmakers, one a builder, one a witness, what can we possibly say about what's true in a documentary? Here's the bottom line. Documentary truth isn't really about a particular style. It doesn't matter if you're a meticulous architect like Kapadia or a patient observer like Longinotto. Every filmmaker is making choices. Every single shot is a choice. They're all shaping what you see to present their truth, and, very often, to challenge the official story we've all been told. And that takes us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? That quote from Kapadia suddenly has so much more weight. He's not saying that documentaries are full of lies. He's saying that they are all built, brick by brick, by a filmmaker with a point of view. The reality we're watching is always somebody's version of it. Which leaves us with this final, crucial question to think about. If every single documentary is a construction, then our job as smart viewers isn't to ask, is this real? Our job is to ask, whose reality am I seeing? Whose truth is being prioritized here? And why? And that, right there, is the whole game.